This is Melody, your East Tennessee real estate resource, and today I'm taking advantage of the beautiful weather and the scenery here at Admiral Farragut Park. It's literally right across the street from the Farragut Town Hall here in Knox County. And if you've never been here, it's really a nice little area. There's a little walking path. There's the statue of Admiral Farragut, and it tells about some of his accomplishments. But I wanted to use this beautiful backdrop to share with you some of the things about East Tennessee that the brochures don't always tell you. Stay tuned. Let's talk about it. So the first one is taxes. If you've done any research at all, you know that Tennessee does not currently have a state income tax. Some of you are applauding right now, right? Yes, that is true. We do have a 9.25% sales tax on almost all items, and then there's certain items that have a 9.75% sales tax. Most of those are going to be food items. So yes, that's a little higher probably than most states. We do have a sales tax free holiday, usually late July, early August, where you can buy school supplies, computers. There's a whole plethora of things that you can buy for that weekend with no sales tax. However, you also want to think about property taxes. So property taxes are going to vary from county to county. Some of the counties will be higher, some will be lower. Some will give you the tax notice usually late September, early October, maybe even November, but yet the actual bill is not due usually until February. Also, you want to pay attention to if you're living in the city limits, you're going to pay city taxes as well as county taxes. Now, with those city taxes, you could possibly get some more amenities such as fire, police, ambulance service, possibly even some trash services. It depends on what city that you're in, but you will have city and county tax. If you don't live in the city limits, you're only going to have the county tax. So taxes are definitely something you need to be aware of if you're thinking about moving to East Tennessee. The second thing you want to think about is utilities, okay? Because most rural areas are going to have their sewage is going to be gone through a septic tank. If you're not familiar with a septic tank, you're going to get an education if you're looking to buy a rural property here in East Tennessee. Many rural properties will also have well water. And so, therefore, those have to be treated a little bit differently. Septic tanks have to be emptied. Some experts say every 3 years. You might find a varying amount on that. You have to watch what you put into um, the toilets, and if you have a garbage disposal, you have to watch what you put into that. So there's a little bit of extra cautiousness there. Also, with a well, you want to make sure that you're not getting a lot of minerals and metals showing up periodically in your well water. Also, we want to think about heating. There are some natural gas opportunities here in East Tennessee, but a lot of times there won't be natural gas, and so people will use a propane tank. They'll lease a propane tank. They'll get it filled once a year. They'll use that for heating, and then in the summers they will use wall air conditioning. And so think about that. Is it a propane tank? Is that going to be an additional cost for me if that's something that I want? If I want, gas heating or gas cooking, and then trash pickup. So that's always a fun conversation. There are trash companies who will go and pick up your trash even in the rural areas. They are few and far between, but there are some companies out there that will do that. However, a lot of times people will just collect their trash, and once a week they will go to what is called a convenience center. Yes, I said that correctly. Convenience center is, every county has at least one. Most counties have multiple. And you can go and take your trash. They're open at certain hours of the day. Some of the convenience centers will have recycling opportunities. And there's even certain convenience centers that will take things that are kind of hard to dispose of, such as oils, such as paint, such as old tires. So if you're in a rural area, you're not guaranteed to have trash pickup. It might be one of these things that you will have to be responsible for taking it to a convenience center. Third thing, internet service. I have made multiple videos about this. I would say in most cities, in the city limits, your internet service is going to be pretty good. If you are in the county, even in Knox County, there's still some areas where the internet service is not strong. I know this. I was a virtual teacher for 5 years, and there would be things that would happen from time to time. So rural areas, regardless of what county you're in, are still possibly going to have some internet struggles. There's going to be what I would almost consider like dead zones. There's some areas I know when I go show property and homes where my cell service goes completely out. So we do still have those, especially in the mountainous areas where we don't have as many towers. We still have some of those things going on. So if you do a lot of online work, or if you're a remote worker, then you need to take that into consideration if you're thinking about moving to East Tennessee. So commuting, transportation. We don't have very many sidewalks here. There's not a lot of public transportation here. We do have some buses in some of the bigger cities, but most transportation is done by car, motorcycle, truck, things of that nature. So you have to think about this. Yes, we normally have lower gas prices. That's, yes. Almost everybody who comes in to visit is like, yeah, your gas prices are so low. Yes, that is true. However, there's usually a longer commute time. There's usually a longer distance to amenities. And so, yes, we have lower gas, but you might have a longer drive to go to the grocery store, to go to the doctor, to go to work, even. A lot of people I know that work here in Knoxville will live in Loudoun or will live in Clinton and just commute. Also, you got to think about if you're outside of the city limits, you could be living on a county road, and a lot of the county or rural roads will be more curvy, will have more steepness. So therefore, when it's raining, sleeting, any kind of non-sunny weather, there's a strong possibility that that's going to slow you down even more. Seasonal costs, okay? If you've ever been to East Tennessee, you know we have humidity. Even right now, there's humidity in the air. I can feel it on my skin. So in the summers, a lot of times your utility bills will be more because you're running that air conditioner more um, to try to stay comfortable in these uh, humid, hot weather days. Our winters here are not usually harsh compared to other states. We'll get maybe 3 days in the single digit temperatures. If we have any inkling of snow, usually the whole place shuts down. We don't know how to treat snow. We don't have the infrastructure to it. That, in all honesty, that's what's going on. And since we don't have a whole lot of public transportation, it is advisable maybe to have some chains nearby that you can put on your tires if you are someone who will need to travel when we do have our snowy events on the road. Because we don't have a lot of plows, we'll put down some type of liquid brine mixture onto the roads. A lot of times they'll try to pre-treat it before the bad weather comes in. However, a lot of times we'll get rain before the snow, and so it washes that away. So yeah, winters are not harsh here, but you do need to keep a few things in your garage, chains being one of them. Also, we're so blessed. We have so many lakes and rivers and streams and ponds and things of that nature here. But if you live near one of those, there is a chance that your homeowner's insurance policy could be a little bit more, or you could be required to get flood insurance. Even if the pond, stream, river is, at the very end of your property, and maybe you own 5 acres and your house is on the front part, there still may be a possibility that you'll need some flood insurance. So again, talk with your insurance representative. They will tell you yes or no, but that is something to think about. Home maintenance. Holy moly, we have all this beautiful greenery. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? We're so blessed because there's so many states that don't have this much greenery. But with that comes the upkeep of that. We mow yards here usually from March till October. We have to trim tree branches all the time. Pests, carpenter bees, we have that. They don't hurt humans, but they like to bore holes in woods. We have kudzu and crabgrass that, it's just annoying as sin. And then we also have termites. Termites like to eat wood. So again, we have to stay on top of these preventative maintenance measures to make sure our homes are safe. Because we have a humid climate and all this beautiful greenery, there is a tendency, especially on siding, to get some type of bacteria, mildew. I'm not an expert, but something of that nature. And so when that happens, it's important to maybe do some pressure washing or get a professional out there to get that off. That will help preserve your home. That's not something that usually has to be done every year, every few years. It's usually where the sunlight is not hitting the house is where you will find where that happens the most. Oh, and don't forget driveways. If you have a gravel driveway and we've had a hard rain, sometimes that will make your driveway become a little bit uh, in more need of maintenance. Or if you have a little bit steeper of a driveway with rain, that can cause some erosion. So the upkeep of driveways, if they're gravel or dirt, is also something to think about. Let's talk about lifestyle. So I know many people who work here in Knoxville, but yet live in Loudoun, or they live in Clinton, or they live in Dandridge, and they drive they commute because they like the larger lots, they like the little bit more private surroundings, but yet they get the amenities of driving into the city every day. And so a lot of times there is going to be that commute time. There may not be as many entertainment choices in some of the smaller towns. There may be less food choices to go out to eat and things of that nature. But the trade-off is the beauty, the abundance. So I love sharing my state with you. East Tennessee is beautiful, and it's a wonderful lifestyle that I've enjoyed for many, many years. But as a buyer, you do need to factor in some of these costs if you're not familiar with it, and the lifestyle adjustments. Thank you for watching this video. If you are not a subscriber, I would love for you to subscribe. I am trying to hit that 1,000 mark before the end of the year, and I can do that with your help. I put out weekly videos to try to educate my viewers about East Tennessee. And if you are one of my faithful followers, please like this video, share it on to your social media outlets, share it onto your Facebook, share it onto Instagram, wherever you're watching it, share it. Helps me to get the word out. And until next time.